I'm so excited for this episode because this guest is somebody that I have known for years. We randomly met at a birthday party, and you know those people that you just look out and you're like, I think I need to be friends, and then you just click.
Yep.
That's who this person is. And I'm so excited because she basically has had rough breakups, easy breakups just from her standpoint. And then after her last one, she has become one of the most amazing, successful entrepreneurs who I love surrounding myself with. Everybody, let's introduce Miss Marsherrie.
I'm excited to be here. I haven't done a podcast in a long time, but the
Well,
last one was with Jamie. So I know it's going to be good.
Thank you for joining ours today. We're so excited. I was just telling Sophie how proud I am of you that you basically as well turned a breakup into a business and entrepreneurship. Welcome to Heartbreak to Healed podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Baptiste from Rejected Hearts Club.
And I'm your host, Sophie Delcourt with Healing Soul Spiritual Center.
And we do the heartbreaks
so you can heal.
Let's just get into this. When was your last breakup?
Okay, for me, this will be a little bit different because there was someone that I thought was my person, and we dated in the past, but it was more of like we went on a few dates, but we didn't want each other to be each other's rebound. And we were like, you know what? We'll just be friends until we're in a place that we can actually be in a sustainable relationship, because y'all know about rebounds.
We
it's not
preach
always
that all the time, right, Sophie?
Yeah, it's not always 100%. And I felt like, or we felt like that wouldn't be us. So we just became friends, but he'd recently moved back to Austin from Arizona, and we went on a date right before we got shut down for COVID.
Wow.
Yay. The next day we got shut down for COVID. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this ain't the time either. but we had finally reconnected like some months later, after COVID had kind of run its course, and he reached out to me hours before he died. And yeah, we talked, like I said, hours before. He was trying to come see me. But I was still like, we at level 5 right now.
Right.
I would love to see you. However, I'm not trying to play with my health like that. The next day, he was heavy on my mind, just really heavy on my mind. And I was like, maybe it's just because I literally just talked to him last night. I didn't think anything of it. But also that day, I was reading this book. It's an astrology book on birthdays. I'm pretty sure y'all are familiar with something like that. But I was reading over his birthday, and I was reading over mine. And I had this overwhelming urge that I wanted to be in water. And I was like, well, I could hit him up since he was trying to hang out anyway. And I was like, no, sit your ass down. You can sit at the house. It's fine. The next day again, he's heavy on my mind. And I was like, you know what? I'll be at the Domain later on today. So I typically run into him at the Domain. And I was like, I was doing my self-care day, and I made sure that I didn't do my social media or anything, just so I could relax and like just be present while I was doing my self-care day. But I say an hour went by, and I went to go see a potential customer for one of my businesses. And I got a phone call from my best friend. And she was like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, oh, sitting here at a meeting. Are you okay? I knew she was on a girls' trip. And she was like, yeah, I was calling because didn't you date a guy named Justin? Like, weren't y'all a thing? And I was like, did I tell her that I just talked to him the other day? And I was like, I didn't tell her that. And I was like, she's on a girls' trip. Maybe somebody's dating him or dated him. And she was like, well, I just saw on one of our friends' page that he died. And I said, huh? Wait, what do you mean? I just talked to him. She was like, he drowned in Lake Travis
Oh my God.
Saturday. And instantly, all the moisture from my body just left me.
Yeah.
And it was like I couldn't breathe. And I was sitting there talking to, again, a potential customer. So, again, I hadn't been on social media all day. And I went on and I looked at my friend's page. And lo and behold, it was a picture of him saying that he passed. And I was in denial, because I was like, you know what? People have been found in a lake. It doesn't always have to be a recovery. It could be a rescue. Who knows? He might still be fine. But something in me knew.
That intuition, and like you were saying before,
Yeah,
you just had this feeling, and then you had the astrology birthday book. You were thinking about being in the water. All the signs were there, and
all of them. All of
that
them.
feeling, I mean, Sophie can talk more in that regard. Me, from a personal note, from a family member, I understand. That's wild.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, we finally got to a point to where we're both in a place to
Mhm.
where we can have a relationship. Yeah, I just felt like he was my person in a sense. And then after that happened, I just knew we were connected deeper than just in the physical. So it almost took me out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. After he died, I didn't even know that they hadn't found his body yet.
Oh my
He
gosh.
was lost in Lake Travis for over a month. His family had to hire
Wow.
someone to come down and find him. And they found him in less than 24 hours when the
Oh my
police
goodness.
department supposedly
Stepped
had been
in.
looking already.
Right. No comments on that.
Yeah, no comments.
Um,
But, and then to put icing on that cake, after he passed, I went to sleep, woke up the next morning, my cousin's wife had passed. And then from August the 7th, I found out about Justin on August the 9th. From August the
mhm.
7th to the end of November, I had 7 other people die in that
Mm.
span of time. So
Oh
it
my
forced
goodness.
me to really I had to shut everything down because I
Yes.
wasn't okay. I wasn't
Right.
okay. My heart was broken. It was broken. I'd
Beyond
never
at that point.
experienced anything like that as far as someone I loved outside of, family that passed. And for everything to like happen in the order that it happened, and for me to be seeing the things that I was seeing, and he was showing me in my dreams what happened, where he was, and when he would be found. So for me, I really just had to remove myself. I had just started a new business.
Mhm.
um Literally February 20th of 2020. So
Mhm.
him and I went on a date that same week. We got shut down for COVID the next week. I started a new business. I finally started, doing my business a little bit, because then the beauty industry, salons, suppliers were opening back up. But I just wasn't me. I couldn't
Right.
smile. I was crying all the time at the drop of a dime, and
Mhm.
for long periods of time. And it wasn't just like, oh, these little tears that you see right now.
No, it's
Oh, no,
breakdown.
not just
Yeah.
the most. So I had to retreat. I wasn't advertising my business as much. Like if they knew I was there, they knew. But I had to shut my books down.
From the moment that you got that call from a friend and you find out this devastating news, especially that you're saying that you guys just talked, you went on a date, COVID hit, things got shut down, you're at the domain with the customer. What's your mindset at that point? And moving forward, how do you feel about, do you think that this was your one true ultimate love and he's no longer in the physical world?
Typically, I would throw myself into work and just work more and just
Mhm.
compartmentalize whatever feelings I had back. But this wouldn't allow me to do that with it being him and then so many other people afterwards. I don't do well with loss. I don't. I've never been that person who's great with it. Because when my people are my people, they're my people. And I latch on to those. I'm really big on my relationships. And Jamie, you can attest to that. It doesn't matter how far you are. If you're my after that, I had to dig deep spiritually, feel my feelings, figure out what was triggering feelings, and just slowly heal. I was learning to say no more because I couldn't do 7 funerals.
No, ma'am.
I just couldn't. I was emotionally drained. I couldn't be creative, and I'm a very creative person, but my creative brain has shut down, which is what I need for being in business. So I knew I had to fill my cup back before I could pour into others' cups.
As hard as it was obviously the pivot that she needed for her part of that story. And that's amazing.
That was amazing. And I appreciate that she had the strength to even tell us some of that story, because my goodness, you are with somebody and you're like, okay, we're finally at a point where we can reconnect, rekindle. And then a few hours later, you find out that this person passes away. My goodness. And then after that, it's gut punch after gut punch after gut punch with losing 7 more people in your life. So
like, what do you do?
Wait. What do you do? So I can't wait until she can continue this story with everybody. And I'm sure there's more people in the world that can relate. And our hearts truly, truly go out to Marsherrie, Justin's family, and everybody out there that has gone through grief in that regard and heartbreak. And that's what we're here for, to help you guys heal. So as always, thank you so much for listening, and see you guys next time.